Welcome back to another episode of the Sports Stand Podcast. I'm your host, Jonathan Hooker here, and today's episode is my Week 2 reactions of college football. Let's get into it. The first game, Baylor versus SMU. Baylor's quarterback Sawyer Robertson needs to be talked about more. He's thrown for over 400 yards in his first 2 games, nearly having 900 total passing yards, and he has a ranked win now under his belt, because he's gotten his guys like Josh Cameron, 9 receptions, 151 yards, 2 touchdowns. Ashton Watkins, 10 receptions, 145 yards. And Alabama transfer wide receiver Kobe Prentice, 4 receptions, 63 yards, and 2 touchdowns. A quarterback that knows how to distribute the ball to his playmakers that well and get his guys in scoring positions and letting the playmakers make plays deserves more praise in the national media. Now for Baylor, if you can sustain the success, you guys can be in the upper echelon of winning the Big 12, because we all know the Big 12 is a wide open race. Arizona State just lost to Mississippi State. BYU will be a formidable opponent. Colorado will be a formidable opponent. Utah will be a formidable opponent. So now, if you guys can find ways to win games, maybe not be more of a shootout type of way, but more of a way to where you can finding those ways to win, whether it's maybe a 24-17 type of game, a 31-24 type of game. Not getting into the 40s where your defense is on the field a lot, your offense on the field a lot, and both teams are just tired from being on the field and have to rely on each other to try to continue to make that one play that could divide the game. And that's where I believe if Baylor can find a way to minimize that and move forward and find ways to win in a more efficient way, they'll be a top team in the Big 12. Now for SMU, they see the ACC is still a wide open race. Yes, this loss hurts, but you can't be frowned upon about that, because you have 4 games on your schedule. You have to win 3 out of those 4 because you already taken your one loss. That's TCU, Clemson, Miami, and Louisville. All 4 have great college quarterbacks in Josh Hoover, Cade Klubnik, Carson Beck, and Miller Moss. So if you find the ways to win 3 out of those 4 games and have an ACC championship berth, you guys can find a way to sneak inside of the playoff. Moving forward, we have Clemson versus Troy. Clemson, you guys not asserting your dominance for 4 quarters worries me moving forward to see how I view you as a team, how you view you as a national championship contender. Because national championship contenders find ways to win against teams like Troy better than you guys did on this past Saturday, because Cade has to take over games like this. There's only one wide receiver that had over 100 yards. That was Brian Westcott Jr. TJ Moore only had 1 reception. So in my eyes, I'm thinking to myself, what's going on here and how can you guys fix it? Because going down 16-3 to the team you face next week in Georgia Tech, that's a loss. So be more efficient. Maybe take the time of possession away more. Not have costly turnovers. Because if my defense create 3 turnovers through the air with 3 interceptions, and we can't find points off turnovers like that in a more efficient way, then the offense is not playing complementary football. So is the loss of Antonio Williams hurting them that much? I don't know. We'll see for sure next week, because Georgia Tech is no slouch. Georgia Tech has a stifling defense. Georgia Tech plays fast and physical, and we'll see which Clemson team shows up that Saturday. Mississippi State versus Arizona State. Mississippi State, way to get a top 15 win against a very good Arizona State team. It was a bad offense at the day for quarterback Sam Levitt, who was a part of my preseason Heisman list. But now I have to retract, let him find his groove again, and maybe later on in the season he'll be a part of this again. But it showed me how good the SEC is compared to other Power 4 conferences. Because if we all can agree that Arizona State is a top team in the Big 12. And we all can agree that these past couple of years, Mississippi State has been at the bottom. So Mississippi State finding a way to win against a top Big 12 team shows them that there's still levels to college football. Maybe the gap has closed a lot, but the gap is still there. And having the trio of Blake Shetman, who did a really good job staying in the pocket, taking those hits, but making those throws to his guys, to Brandon Thompson, who had 6 receptions, over 100 yards and 2 touchdowns. Throwing it to Georgia transfer wide receiver Anthony Evans, 9 receptions, 106 yards and a touchdown. Showed me that they can be viewed as the Vanderbilt team like they were last year. Vanderbilt was a team that was a laughingstock, that were, okay, this is a pushover game. We don't have to show up this game. But now teams have to really play you guys because you guys might get sneak an upset. And now I view you as a team to win 5 to 7 games now, because this changed the trajectory of the team, because now the team has confidence. The team has camaraderie. Because those two things can help you a lot in the SEC. Because you finish non-conference by week 5. So now we'll see what you guys can do in SEC play. Because SEC is a hard thing to win in. So let's see what happens. And for Arizona State, your next 3 games can be 3 potential losses. With Baylor, TCU, and Utah, all 3 showing different things. All 3 teams showing different things, because Utah, we know them for what? Defense. Kyle Whittingham teams will always have defense. Baylor's offense. We just heard the stats that Sawyer Robertson's been putting up. Then TCU offense as well, because Josh Hoover. So we'll see how good they can be these next 3 games, because if they lose 1 or 2 more, they're out the playoff picture. Simply put as that. So let's see how good they can come back and move forward these next couple of weeks. Moving forward, South Florida versus Florida. This game showed me that South Florida right now is the best group of 5 team, having 2 ranked wins. Byron Brown arguably looking like the best group of 5 player. He outplayed DJ Lagway at home, having over 300 total yards and creating plays against the SEC defense. So I have to tip my cap to South Florida and Byron Brown. Now, for Florida, this week you have LSU on the road. And for DJ Lagway, he has to show that talent equals production, because DJ Lagway is arguably a top 4, top 5 talented quarterback in the SEC. Heck, even maybe college football. But he doesn't have the reps to show for it because of what? Injuries. This offseason should have been development period for him, but since he was injured for so long, he couldn't get game-like reps until later on, closer to fall camp. And that doesn't give a quarterback enough time, because in the SEC, especially a program like Florida, the expectations are so high that a growing period needs to be done quick and fast, to where now we can see you guys fight for the division, fight for an SEC championship berth, because you haven't done that since 2020. We saw how good that team was, and that team didn't even win the SEC championship. That team didn't even make it the playoff. So, for me, I have to see how good this Florida team can be, because it all lies on DJ Lagway. Because last year, whenever DJ Lagway played, you guys won. You guys went on a 5-game winning streak. And within those 5 games, there was a lot of emotion. There was a lot of grit. There was a lot of talent that rose to the occasion because of how good the quarterback play was. And for Florida, you have 5 top 10 ranked teams left on your schedule. 5. So having 11 penalties, discipline is still an issue. Because why is a guy spitting in a South Florida player's face? In a game like that shouldn't even be a question to do. So you have to cut out all that. Be better in all phases of the game. Because in the trenches, you guys lost. Skilled players, we can say they went hand to hand. Because your quarterback got outplayed, your trench players got outplayed, and we all know in football, trenches win the game. So losing a game like this is not good. So now, going into Death Valley next week, there will be a lot of eyes on head coach Billy Napier, a lot of eyes on quarterback DJ Lagway to see how can they bounce back from a performance like last week. My last game, Michigan versus Oklahoma. Brent Venables is still a very good defensive mind. Like, he might not be the best head coach right now, but defensively, he's gonna make sure that your quarterback is put through the fire, and he did just that. He did just that against Michigan's freshman phenom quarterback Bryce Underwood, only allowing 9 completions, but made Bryce Underwood go through a lot of growing pains that night, and only allowing 13-point score from that Michigan offense. So I have to applaud Brent Venables and what he did there. John Mateer, he might not be your efficient quarterback, but at the end of the day, he's a football player. And football players make plays happen. And he did just that throughout the game. He made enough plays happen to win that game. And now this Oklahoma team is great. They have the talent to win some of the big games like they did this past weekend. So now, after week 5, they have straight top 25 opponents. So we'll see how great and how good this Oklahoma team can be. Because if they lose just 2 games, they're in the playoff. And for Michigan, they only have 1 ranked team left, and that's Ohio State. So if they can find ways to win throughout the game, Nebraska might give them a challenge. So if they find ways to win, keep moving forward, keep having that upward trajectory, we'll see Michigan and Ohio State being on the team prime time, 12 o'clock, Big 10 noon kickoff, and we'll see how good this Wolverine team can be. Even though the week 2 slate was not as advertised as week 1, it had a lot of great games, and it showed a lot of teams' efficiency and deficiencies moving forward. So now, let's see how these teams can move forward. Let's see how these teams can become better. And let's see which team rises to the occasion. Let's see which teams crumbles early in this season. I'm your host, Jonathan Hooker. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. And this is the end of the episode. See you guys on the next one. Peace.